Mayor, we're live streaming now.
I'll bring to order the Parks and Recreation Committee. And I will turn that over to Tim.
The only item we have is Amy had sent out everybody about solid Alexander playground equipment, using the piece for Austin Middle School. Amy had met with some alums from Austin High School, way to honor it. So Miss Levener was on board. We were talking about helping move the merry-go-round over, make it inoperable, making it safe. We would help move that over. Other pieces would probably not be safe to use.
Mr. Chairperson, on the other pieces, we had a request from the Austin Heritage Group to keep those pieces in memory of Saul Alexander and not have them destroyed. And we've got a couple of, 3 of the members here from that group tonight. Ms. Linda Marchant made a presentation to the council previously about wanting to keep those pieces. I've spoken with the members of the committee and most of the members of council, and we all seem to agree that they should have those pieces if they want them. The town would have no liability. We'll have to get approval from the town's attorney. They would have to sign a waiver, but we will donate the pieces to the Austin Heritage Foundation. The first part of it, the merry-go-round, that will be handled by our Parks and Recreation Department, and that will be a permanent fixture with a sign that says honoring Saul Alexander as a memento. The principal of the Austin Middle School wants that, and so we're going to do that. So I feel that where we are right now, unless the members of the committee or one of the council members have a question, I'd like to make a motion that we move this to the full council for approval Thursday night.
And I'll second.
All right. And any other discussion? The only thing I'd like to say is we need to make sure that we are not liable. And it's noted that these aren't up to code. And I think it's great that they're being safe. I mean, that's wonderful. My kids played on for years. So do we have a vote? All those in favor?
Aye.
All right.
I'll make a motion that we adjourn.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
She's got a question about it. Yes, ma'am.
To all members of the council, we appreciate what you have just agreed upon, but we would like to know when the merry-go-round is placed on the property of the school ground of Alston Middle School, we want it to be placed looking on Bryant Street, not on the back of the school. Am I correct? Will the merry-go-round be placed on 500 Bryant Street, right in front of the school, maybe in the library section when we were at the school?
I think that would be beyond our decision. That would be a decision of the school board.
So we don't know where that merry-go-round will be placed.
We do not, that's not our property, so we can't.
That's Dorchester District 2.
Oh,
So
see,
you would have to go to the school in the school district.
so we will have the merry-go-round. That's all will be placed on the school property.
The merry-go-round will be on the school ground,
Where at?
and that'll be set up on the school ground with a sign memorializing
Saul Alexander.
Saul Alexander.
Yeah, but where?
Or where the location?
Where? Yeah, what's the location?
Again, I think it's going to be, I think the principal wanted it up front, but
Yeah.
our Parks and Recreation Director's not here. And like Bob said, that's not our property, but wherever they place it. But I think it's going to be on Bryant Street. but Emmy, the Parks and Recreation Director, is not here. So that's, you can probably confirm that with the principal of the school. You can speak with her.
Okay, all right.
It
Right.
doesn't matter to us where it goes. We're going to do the same thing, but it's not our property, so we have to follow their
Oh,
instructions.
so we'll have to ask the principal there in District 2 where we would be placed.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, because we would want it placed at 500 Bryant Street. Because if it's placed on the back of the school, it would belittle the graduates that graduated from there. They would think that they just graduated from the middle school and from the elementary school. That's why we want to put emphasis on being on the front part of the middle school,
Okay.
because that's where they graduated from. They walk out of the front of the school.
Well, thank you for that, and you have to bring that up with the school.
All right, okay, and you don't even know how that merry-go-round would be placed. You don't know the chemicals or anything they will be used.
Nope.
Okay, so we'll have to go to District 2 and ask them,
Yes, ma'am.
because we don't want to get the equipment and mix up chemicals. But we will have it. If we are given the equipment, we will have it wrapped up. And the merry-go-round will be painted, garnet and blue, when it's taken over to the school, or you don't know?
I don't know. That would be up to the Director of Parks and Recreation, and she's not here right now, so I don't know what discussions.
But I think you can confirm everything you're talking about with the principal, because she spoke with the Parks and Recreation Director. And I think she will confirm where you want it. But it's up to the school district, but she seemed to be amenable to having it in a public place where people could see it.
Right, yeah, I'm hoping so. They can see it on Highway 78. But we want it on the front of the school. So
That's good.
please speak
you have-
for us, council.
Yes, ma'am. Under
I can't
me as
see
the
your
mayor of
names
Somerville,
because,
I would strongly make a motion, not a motion, but I would strongly recommend that we would put that merry-go-round on Bryant Street in front of that school where it needs to be. And so as far as the staff of Somerville, I would recommend that they get with Mr. Pye, the superintendent, the principal of the school, that we put that merry-go-round on Bryant Street, which would be in front of Alston School as we all know it to be. So we will recommend to our people. I will talk to Mr. Pye myself and recommend that that merry-go-round go in front of Bryant Street, in front of Alston School where it needs to be.
thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor.
Ricky Warren, thank you for that information. We feel much better about it. We appreciate that. Thank you so much. Warren, along with all the members that are working with you on the council, we appreciate that. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, we've adjourned. Yeah.
Okay, I'll bring the Planning and Development Committee to order. You can turn that over to Jess.
Thank you very much. Good evening. First item on the agenda is petition by Thomas M. Irvin to annex Dorchester County TMS number 13600000105, located at 908 Central Avenue and totaling approximately 1 acre. Currently zoned CG General Commercial in Dorchester County and will be zoned GB General Business upon annexation into the town of Somerville's municipal limits. Planning Commission held a public hearing and met a recommendation for approval at their meeting on April 19th, 2021.
Okay, so this is basically not much of a change at all.
No, it has an existing vacant warehouse on the property, so it fits with the zoning they're requesting. And it's most closely aligned with what the Dorchester County current zoning is.
Do I hear discussion?
I'll make a motion that we move this to full council with recommendation for approval.
I'll second that. All in favor?
Okay. Next item on the agenda is request to rezone TMS number 13600000117, located at 123 Harvest Way, approximately 4.97 acres, and owned by William H. and Laura Ashley White, from PUD Plan Development District to GR2 General Residential. Planning Commission held a public hearing and made a recommendation for approval at their meeting on April 19th, 2021.
Do I hear a motion?
I'll make a recommendation that we move that to full council with a recommendation for approval.
I'll second that. All in favor?
All right.
I'm now going to turn it over to, oh, Michael is here. I was like, where's Michael? I'm going to turn it over to Michael.
Good evening. The third item is just a discussion on the economic incentive ordinances that council has had an opportunity to review over the last week. And I'm happy to answer any questions that y'all might have.
And I guess I'll open this up to everybody. Does anybody have any statement or questions or what we heard from you? Okay, do I hear a motion?
I'll make a motion that we move an ordinance establishing a business license incentive program and an ordinance authorizing and establishing the Somerville Open for Business program to full council for review and a recommendation to approve.
I'll second that. All in favor?
All right.
Motion to adjourn. I'll second. All in favor?
Okay, we'll go ahead and open up the Public Works Committee.
Evening, how are y'all? I'll go through a few project updates on some ongoing projects, and we have a couple additional items to discuss as well. Maple Street, I think we just acquired our last property, so acquisition is basically done. Like I said, still waiting on the TIF to be established before funding is set, and once that's ready, we get our DOT approval, we'll be ready to go with this project, hopefully late summer, early fall. Cedar Street Extension, I did receive right-of-way plans in April. I'm still looking at those, but that project is basically on hold again until the TIF is established for the funding. Central Avenue sidewalk, I recently walked this entire phase one of this project with our engineer and reviewed the plans with him in the field. We're finalizing those plans now for phase one, and those should be ready to go to bid this summer after the new budget is set.
Mr. Cornett,
Yes, sir.
when will this work begin?
Central, late summer, if the funding's set.
Late summer.
This summer.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
West Fifth South and Lee Street sidewalk, those plans are being finalized too, so they should be ready to go this summer as well. North Hickory Street sidewalk, that is out to bid now. That will bid early June, so I'll bring it to the Finance Committee for approval in June. That's being funded by CDBG funds. Chevrolet Park drainage, so the contractor began mobilized in March, began clearing, began excavating in April. If you haven't been to the site, I recommend you pay it a visit. It looks much different today than it did a month or so ago. But he is taking out about 25% of the material. So there's a big hole in the ground and getting bigger every day. I think about 4 to 6 more weeks of excavation and the pond will be established. And then stormwater crews will come back and install the pipes and outlet structures associated with the pond, and it'll be functional at that point.
Mr. Cornett, if
Yes,
I
sir.
may digress, on North Hickory Street sidewalks, I'm getting calls all the time from people saying, when is they going to get it done? It's supposed to run from Richardson all the way down to Highway 78.
Yeah, that's out to bid now.
I'm sorry?
That is out to bid now. So we'll bid that and bring that back to the Finance Committee to approve in June for construction. So construction should begin late June, early July.
Okay. Thank you.
Any questions on Shepherd Street drainage project?
When does it look like it'd be done?
4 to 6 weeks.
Oh, okay.
The US 78 North drainage, North Somerville drainage project, we did receive the appraisals back for the 2 properties owned by Mr. Waters. Those came in at $725,000 and $245,000 each. So if you want to, I'm not sure what we want to do with those, but we are also looking at tightening up the stormwater development restrictions in this basin. So that will help that situation. So we did receive the appraisals back. The Springview Oak Brook drainage project, we're having a plat prepared now for the easements for that project, and final plans are also being prepared now. So they'll be ready to go soon as well. The Bear Island Road traffic signals, if you've not been out to that site, those sites, the signal heads are up. So we're basically waiting on power to be turned on, and we can turn those signals on in the next couple of weeks, hopefully, and they'll be functioning. Any questions on any of those updates, project updates?
So on the 78, the north drainage and those appraisals, we just need to discuss what we want to do.
Yes, ma'am. Item B. So our police department has been out on Bear Island Road the last few weeks and is addressing a speeding problem out there. As you know, the road is posted 25 miles per hour. I believe the average speed out there was 34 miles an hour. The road is actually designed to be 35 miles an hour. So based on that data, you can discuss it, but based on that data, staff is recommending we increase the speed limit to 35 miles an hour to be more in line with the design of the road and really how you want to drive on that road. It's really difficult to drive, keep it down to 25 miles an hour the way it feels. So I just put that recommendation out there. We can discuss it.
So what speed are you going to recommend?
35 miles per hour. It's 25 now.
It has to be approved by SCDOT.
No, it's our road. So
It's our call?
yes, sir.
But isn't this the same road that the residents wanted it as low a speed as possible?
It was a mitigation effort to mitigate some of the concerns there. But I think some of the people that have received tickets probably live in that area too.
If I could, I might like to address, I'm not going to be pro or con on this yet, except I'm aware that they wanted a 25-mile-an-hour speed limit. I've driven the road. It truly is almost impossible to drive 25 miles an hour on that road. They had asked for other mitigations to speed, such as humps and bumps and those kinds of things. I'd like to go talk to the homeowners association before we make a decision on this, to find out kind of where the preponderance of the neighborhood stands, whether it's 25 or 30 or 35. But I recognize 25 is nigh on impossible. I mean, it's 4-lane road, straight road. You can't hardly do that on Carolina Avenue, much less Bear Island Road. So, but I'd like a chance to talk to the homeowners association. I'll take it upon myself to do that and try to report back to us by Thursday.
That sounds like a good idea.
Item C, West Richardson on-street parking. This was brought to my attention last month. So at the corner of Short Central and West Richardson, right in front of the barbecue restaurant, you see the picture of that dark area behind the curb used to be a driveway. We closed up that driveway a year or so ago at the request of the property owner. By doing that, it kind of it did open up 2 additional parking spaces, and that causes a sight problem trying to come out of Central looking left back towards Cedar, especially if you're in a low car, not in a pickup, you're sitting higher. Staff recommends that we mark that area as no parking to alleviate the sight problem and help the sight distance problem on West Richardson, right at the corner of Central.
I think we ought to do that, Russ. That's a dangerous situation right there, where you come out of there. And I think you've got a good recommendation there, coming out on the Richardson.
I agree. It's hard to see around that corner.
Yeah, it's hard to see when you come out of there and somebody's gonna get creamed. You know, we used to not have those parking places there, and when you put cars there, it's dangerous.
Yeah, well, there's a driveway there before, so you couldn't park in front of the driveway, and just an unintended circumstance that happened when we closed the driveway up.
Do we need a vote on that?
Yes, please.
I'll make a motion. Do away with parking.
Okay, we have a first to do away with those 2 spots. Do we have a second?
He's not here.
Then I can second. All in favor? Aye.
Last item is he received a request from Bill Hearn, who's representing one of the property owners shown on this exhibit. There's a piece of property or maybe unimproved right of way shown in yellow, highlighted in yellow on the exhibit there. And the adjacent property owners requested that if the town doesn't have any interest in that property, to, I guess, quick claim it to those interested property owners. That strip is only about 25 feet wide. I don't know of any plans the town has or DOT has to improve that strip. So I would recommend we quick claim it to those interested property owners.
Okay. And that's your recommendation. Do we have a motion?
I just got a comment. I live nearby. I'm on the right-hand corner there, so I'm real familiar with that area. And the intersection of Golf Road and 17A, but you have Spring Road and Golf Road, basically the same turns. It's kind of tough getting out of there. And if that area was opened up, it would give an alternative route with better visibility both ways. You can't see cars coming from the left if you're coming out of Golf Road. This is a dip highway to the left top of it. I don't know if there's enough width there to do anything with it, or if there are any plans anywhere to do it. But
You would have to acquire additional
yeah.
width to make it functional. But you're right.
Well, I've driven that myself. It's a horrible corner. Well, I think it would certainly make for a lot of safety if we could round that corner off some. It's just horrible because you got to sit there and you got to look you're looking to your left and you're trying to look to the right, and it's hard to do.
I agree. It's a
What
rough.
if we made it one-way golf itself? Because that's the people that need it. That would be a big help.
The one way, so you're talking about improving this section to get out on the main street
Kind of like the T Farm Road.
and then making Golf Road a one-way entrance only? Left and right? Okay. We don't have funding identified to improve that section of road. I don't know how long it is. It's like a couple 100 feet, 150, 200 feet long. But we could explore that.
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we look into it.
And I'll second.
Explore it more?
Yeah, explore it more.
All right.
What was your motion, Walter?
The staff look into making that a one-way road exit.
Yeah.
17A.
Okay, we'll respond to Mr. Hearn and tell him we're going to retain it for now.
Our attention.
All right.
Who wanted to quit, please?
I think Mr. Harrell,
Property owner.
property owner.
Harold.
Property owner right there.
Harold.
Apartments there?
It's a single family. That's all I've got. Unless you have any questions.
Going back to the drainage, the 78 North drainage is, I can't remember. Can you give me some more details about what we
So the
talked about in the
recommendation
past?
from the study was to basically purchase those two properties that we had appraised because those are the only two properties that were flooding. We explored other mitigation, other solutions, which would require acquiring additional properties, making it a pond, building ponds basically on developed properties. The cost associated with that versus the cost of just buying the two properties outweighed each other. So several months ago, I guess February, the committee recommended getting those two properties appraised, and we did. I'll be happy to send those as a report to you for review. But the two properties that are being flooded came in at appraised at just under $1 million. I've not shared this with the property owners yet,
So I guess we need to send this up to full council for discussion.
We can if you want.
You want to make that?
I'll make the motion.
Okay, and I'll second that, send full council.
I will forward council the appraisal reports this week before
Okay.
Thursday.
All right, is there anything else?
We get our approximate cost on the ponds also.
On the what?
You were talking about building ponds, two costs,
Bonds.
Oh,
the drainage.
in that area,
Yeah.
retention ponds.
Oh, I haven't done a cost analysis on those, but I can tell you the acquisition of what we would need, we need 5 acres. This is just over an acre. So if we did that math, 5 acres times about $1 million plus the construction of a pond, your cost is far exceeds this cost.
Okay. Any other discussion?
I move to adjourn.
Okay, I'll second. We adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Meeting adjourned. Thank you.
Finance.
Okay, Andrew, we ready for the finance committee meeting? That's what I wanted to get on this too.
Good evening, Mayor, council members.
Start.
The May Finance Committee meetings, the April financials. We're approximately 67% done, finished through the year. Through the month of May, we collected approximately 1.1 million in revenues. Of those revenues, approximately 501,000 in property taxes, approximately 430 in state revenues. Expenditures for the month of April, approximately 3.2 million. Revenues collected, property taxes, 501,870. Majority of those from our homestead property tax program, and 133,000 from vehicle property taxes. License permits and fees, approximately 164,000 collected, 55,000 in building permits, and 77,000 in cable TV franchise fees. We'll note the business license renewals are going out into this week or next week, so our business license collections will increase once we have those set out. We'll get those into May throughout the month of June. Court fines collected through the month of April are 13,000. Total collected for the year, approximately 50,000. State revenues collected of 430,532. Aid to subdivision from the state, 257,000. Local option sales tax, Charleston County, 18,000. Local option sales tax, Berkeley County, approximately 120,000. Miscellaneous revenues collected for the period of 53,000. 15,000 come from the Recreation Department miscellaneous revenues, 6,000 from property rental fees, and 7,000 from sale of assets. Impact fee balances as of April 30th. Parks and Recreation Facilities impact fees, 293,000. Fire facilities, 855,000. Municipal facilities, 169,000. Total impact fee balance, 1.318 million. Impact fee activity for the month of April, residential, approximately 4,500 revenue collected with actual expenditures of 5,154. No activity in commercial impact fees for the month of April. Local hospitality accommodation tax fund, 145,000 collected in hospitality tax collections. Year to date, a 1.279 million. Hospitality expenditures of 95,000. Stormwater management fund, no revenue collected for the period, with 108,240 in expenditures. There were no questions on the financials. The next item on the agenda is our CDBG action plan. Based on the information we received from HUD, our CDBG program goes from July 1 to June 30th. We're estimating approximately 316,505 total funding from CDBG for the project year. 5 activities projected for the town. 1 administration of the program, public infrastructure, public services, housing rehabilitation, and demolition. Administration includes the general administrative cost for staff, other items, newspaper, public hearings, items like that. Infrastructure plan for the year, several projects at Wassamasaw Park, several projects at Doty Park to improve tennis courts, improve lighting. Public service for the period will include funding for the Dorchester County Community Outreach, which runs the 2 homeless shelters in town, in addition to Urban Trident Urban League, sorry. Funding there for housing consulting, housing counseling. The housing rehab is a project working with Habitat for Humanity right now. They're working on a project within town. We funded current year, and they're going to start on a second part of the project in the next fiscal or next cycle. One item we did add, we actually have a substantial amendment to our comprehensive plan to add this, is a removal of blight. Discussing with different staff, there's a certain area that's been wanting to remove, and this will provide funding and meets the qualifications. Those are kind of the overall goals and activities for the plan, if anybody had any questions.
What was the last thing you said you added?
We added removal of blight. It's allowable through HUD, through CDBG, to go in any area.
That's the house you plan to demolish?
Yes, it's demolition of the house, I believe, is at 104 Magwood.
This is what you're proposing the council approve, right?
Correct. This is the proposal. We have a public hearing. We've had a public comment period that goes through Wednesday.
And of course, council can make changes if they just so desire, right?
Yes, they
Okay.
make
One of the things
changes.
I was looking at, I was reading here, I'm saying on page 16 that the changes can be made. And I had belatedly requested, after you guys were working on this, there's on All's Lane, there's about 4 houses that seriously need some rehab. And we were trying to figure out a way to get that done. I noticed that you're lighting the pickleball courts and you're going to pave the Wassamasaw Trail.
Yes.
And what is it costing you to do the Wassamasaw Trail? Do you know right offhand?
The trail. It's on the other notes.
So what I'm trying to get at is,
Right.
I don't know what it would take to rehab those 4 houses, but I'm thinking that, I remember the last time we did it about 15, 16 years ago, we did some rehab in the Brownsville area. We had everybody submit an application to the town, and I think the building department went through those applications and inspected the homes and see what their needs really were. And what I'm leading up to, I don't know what it's going to take, but I think it would be something. These people have been coming to me for a number of years asking for help.
Yes, sir.
So is it possible that the council would be inclined to maybe postpone a decision tonight until maybe we get some applications submitted to those people?
Right.
who are saying they need
Moving
help?
forward, we definitely want to make this for the community, but HUD has very specific guidelines. In order to move anything from infrastructure to rehab, there are specific percentages that have to be used, and housing rehab has to be approved. There's some other programs that are better for housing rehab. We have to have our plan submitted to HUD within a certain period of time. So
You've got some other avenues that could probably help these people?
right now, because it would take time to develop the plan. We have to do it based on certain guidelines. I'm not sure if we can have a plan in place for HUD to approve before we have to turn this action plan in.
Well, is this something that I think, hopefully we can do at some
Yes, sir.
point in the next 12 months or so, because these people, I recently had Bethany United Methodist Church come over and build a ramp and did some repairs on a disabled senior's house right down on 2nd North Street.
Yes, sir.
And we've been doing everything we can to help these people, seeking sources from churches or whatever.
Yes, sir.
But I'd like to see the administration take a look maybe at what we can do in the next ensuing 12 months, maybe. That would give us time to think about this and maybe.
Yes, sir. Definitely working with PJ. We put this on our agenda to find funding sources. Dealing with HUD, like I mentioned, there's very specific steps and procedures and guidelines. We have to define the purpose. We can do a forgivable loan, or we could do a direct grant, some other areas. The home program provides a lot more of that. Right now, we do not qualify, but we keep looking to make sure once we do qualify, we will draw down funds and apply for that program.
Andrew, are you speaking of the Home of Hope?
No, sir, it's a separate HUD program.
Right.
It's HUD home program. It's specifically for.
PJ and I have contacted them, and they do have an application process. That
Okay.
might be a route that we can use.
Yes, sir.
I think 8-9 years ago, I think a couple of people did get some help from them in the Brownsville community.
Okay.
So we've come a long way as far as uplifting these homes.
Yes, sir.
And but there's still some work to be done. So what we're planning to do, I think, PJ, is we're gonna have a Zoom meeting with somebody with this program and see what we can do. We'll get that information to you if we.
Okay, definitely. I think there's also another direct federal program that we don't qualify for right now, but we maintain, there are certain calculations we have to do to see if we can draw down funding. And once we do, qualify, we will definitely put that program out. They have a lot, it's more directly for this type of funding. So it's a lot easier to build a program there and that side of it. CDBG, public service, 15%, housing rehabilitation or certain percentages, they're the cap, they're not a minimum. So it's capped at certain levels.
I think what Andrew's trying to say is that the CDBG program's probably the hardest program to use to do housing rehab, and there may be some easier programs that we can all look into and try to work, but CDBG has made it really difficult. They used to, 15 years ago, they did housing rehab all day, but they have made it more and more strict and put limitations on the amount you can use it for it. So there may be some other funding options that are a little bit easier to use that will get you where you want to go.
Yeah, they just need some help. If we can get some help for them, it doesn't matter where it comes from.
Right.
Yes.
I know this program is tightened up because I remember when we first got it, that was 16, 17 years ago.
Mhm.
We spent a good bit of money rehabbing a lot of houses, but they've changed the program since then.
Yeah.
All right, I think we're singing off the same page. Hopefully, like I said, next 12 months, we'll be able to come up with something that we can use.
Yes, sir.
I've got an issue in regard to the Habitat House.
Yes.
How much money are we putting into that, roughly?
The one right now is 43,000.
Yeah, I've just got an issue with using taxpayer money to buy somebody a house. I mean, it's a worthy goal. People need help from somewhere. I'm not sure that's part of our mission statement.
Yes, sir.
I mean, we can't buy everybody a house, and we're picking winners and losers, and I don't think we ought to be doing that.
Yes, sir.
I don't think we're going to be buying them cars or anything else. I mean, it should be a public sector matter.
Yes, sir.
Now, let me ask you this, Andrew, with Habitat and Rebecca, you basically, I know we've been working with them to acquire property that they could build on, right? So when we spot a piece of property that Habitat could say build 4 or 5 houses on, or 2 houses or whatever, and we allocate some of this money, that goes to buy the property?
Correct. This right now is buying the property and improving the property
Right.
for the building of the
And
house.
so, is that your objection, Walter?
Yeah, I'm objecting to spending money that I think should go to something that'll benefit the entire public, to benefit a specific individual, no matter who that individual is or how needy they might be. I just think that we've got charities set up to do that, and the government shouldn't be doing that.
But these community development block grant money, they sanction you using money to help people, to help Habitat acquire property. So that's one of the uses of the money.
Yes, that's an allowable use of the funding. Yes, sir.
So,
Yeah, I realize we can do it, but I just think the money would be better spent for something that'll benefit everybody, public improvement.
because we have been using Habitat pretty consistently in the last 7 or 8 years to try to acquire properties to build affordable housing.
Yes.
And there's a big article in the Post-Courier about affordable housing. I think you all saw it in Sunday's paper. If you can still afford to buy a Post-Courier. It's costing me an arm and a leg, you know?
So is that about the same amount of money we've been putting towards that each year, or is this like a 2-year?
This is a separate project they've requested this year.
Oh,
The
I see.
previous, this is the first time on this comprehensive plan that we funded this Habitat. I can't think of the last funding year we had with them.
Well, I think we're setting a bad precedent. Then I'm going to go ahead and make a motion that we delete that off the plan. Might get a second.
Well, second it for discussion.
Well,
Further discussion.
are we in discussion? We're in discussion. I think, I understand what Walter's point of view, but I think we've got, since we have limited uses of this money, if we are helping Habitat acquire land that people have to build on and pay for their own house, they got to pay for the house, right? I think I could go along with that. I think that's a good program.
I think it's a great program also, but I just don't think it should be something that we ought to be directly involved in buying people's property.
For me personally, I'd like to see it through the full council and look into it.
Habitat is a great program. I served on the Habitat board, the first Habitat board we had here. And it works.
Yeah, it's a good program.
Because the people put a lot of, the owners put a lot of sweat equity in. And there's no question that it's not given to them, I'll tell you that. And there's a lot of donations that go into acquiring property, which, you know, if we could help with that, I think it'd be great. But, you know, like Aaron says, you know, it's hard to go out and pick a family and say, okay, that's the town of Somerville help that family. That's almost impossible to do, because, you know, how you could pick one family to go out and help. But, you know, if you do Habitat, which Walter said, I disagree with too. Or I know when we bought that property on Germantown Road, the town didn't necessarily buy it, but that Burbank is a big involved Jason a moment ago and buy that property and we bought a good piece of land, let them build a lot of habitat houses. I worked on those, and that was a big deal, and you have a lot of habitat houses in there. But I don't see why we couldn't look into trying to help with that. I'm not saying give taxpayers money, but trying to help.
You know,
No.
Trying to help with that, you know, in some way, because when you look at the paper, like Aaron says, you can't afford to buy it, but if somebody will leave one on your porch and you can get a hold of it and read it, you know, it's coming, you know, where we got to help these people get homes to live in, affordable homes. And so we're going to get pushed into doing it one way or the other to try to help people get affordable homes. And there are all kind of ways of doing it, and we got to get involved in trying to find ways of doing it. And that's what Aaron's talking about. Ultimately, that's what he's talking about. So it happened in the past, and our problem in Somerville is there's no such thing as an affordable home. I mean, everything you look at here is, you know, expensive. So we got to get on the ball and start looking. So what you're doing is thinking outside the box and trying to come up with a way that we can look at doing something else. And Michael, that's another thing you can be doing. But I think that it's the only way we can go. You know, people coming here. I looked at something in the paper where I saw all these people living in tents. And, you know, we don't want that here. We want them to have a place to live. So, you know, we can all try to do a better job in thinking outside the box and coming up with a way for people to live and live affordable.
I think another thing too, Mr. Mayor, is, you know, the government after World War II federal government started sponsoring ways for Americans to buy homes. Why? When you buy a house, what do? You pay taxes, right? You pay taxes. So maybe you could think that, okay, the town contributes a little bit of money to a plot of land and maybe there's 4 houses built on it, or 5 or 6. And each one of those people is going to be paying taxes to the town for a long time. So maybe it's a symbiotic relationship. Maybe the town gets back what it gives over a period of years with people paying taxes. Also, homeowners move up to a higher level when they own something. They take better care of that property. They fix up the yard. So a rising tide really lifts all boats. And so when you lift up your neighbor, I think you're lifting yourself. All of us are getting lifted up. And so I think it's necessary. I mean, I know we would like them to be able to buy the land and the house, but a lot of cases that doesn't work. I think this way, we've got a limited use of this money anyway. There's only so many things we can do with it. So I think that's another factor also. Let's put it where we can. You know, what I mentioned initially about helping people do their individual homes, that's a tough road to hoe right now with this money, but maybe we can do it this way. Yes.
Just a comment from a financial perspective, without choosing a side in this. That fundamentally, to me, if we could find a way to work with Dorchester County on this, to me, it makes more sense because I look at it and say, okay, we build a house in the town of Somerville. That person is going to pay Dorchester County taxes, going to pay, say, Somerville taxes. So why am I trying to put affordable housing in the more expensive taxed area that a person lives in? Whether or not we help Dorchester County do something that's outside of the town so that the month-to-month payout that the individual living in the house has to spend from a taxation perspective, to me, makes a lot more sense than putting it inside of town, even though I'd like to have affordable housing. I just know I'm putting it in the most expensive place for that person to live.
Well, we have been doing that with, I've been working with Habitat for a while. We are partnering with Dorchester County. We had to because there's not that much land available in Somerville. We did 22 houses. You go down Old Dairy Road, what's the name of the highway? They did 22, that was in Dorchester County. We've done the bigger units, the bigger clusters we've done in Dorchester County because we don't have the land in Somerville. So you're right, but we've been getting help from the county. They're trying to spot properties too, because the county also realizes that this affordable housing thing is not only hit Somerville, it's hitting the county too. So they've been working with them. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. You can say something.
And I know there's different priorities, but it looks like the main priority is to get rid of the blight, areas that need to be improved and the low to moderate income areas. That's like at the top of the ladder. So how do you prioritize in terms of this financial report? Because that's number one on their website for HUD, to clear up blight, to make it a beautiful place. Mm-hmm.
Town has to take the national objective that we have, apply it to the town. Once we apply it to the town, we set specific activities that we want to fund and see funded to that. We went through the process last year of developing our priorities, and then our comprehensive plan on the website should reflect on it.
Right, because there's some areas that really need some refurbishing, and it's like, you don't even want, so if that's a possibility to see even straighten it out and put some money in that area, because you said something about Wassamassaw Park expanding.
We're doing some improvements and upgrades.
Right. So it's a beautiful park, but there's some areas that are really blighted. So if y'all can even think about maybe making some beautification, because you could probably get that money from another pot with the parks, expanding that's like green spaces, Operation Green Spaces. There's other pots for that, but if you can really make Somerville look beautiful every place, that would be great. And thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay, Andrew, what else you got?
You have a motion and a second to remove, you have a motion and a second to remove the habitat section.
Motion to remove the habitat.
From the
Okay,
plan.
got a motion to remove the habitat from the plan.
And a second, so
And a whole lot of discussion. Anything else? All in favor, signify by raising your hand. Vote aye. Any opposed?
so it's 3-3.
3-3? Okay, motion dies. Okay, anything else? Andrew?
That's it for right now.
Do you need a motion for them to approve the plan, or do you need to? or
No,
take
we,
regular council?
we're having a public hearing on Wednesday. That concludes the 30-day public comment period. And once we have any comments from the public, we'll have to add to this. But this is our financial action plan right now. No changes will be made, and we'll need an approval Thursday night then.
Let me ask you a question, Andrew. If you remove the allocation for Habitat, how much was the allocation for Habitat?
43,000. 43,000.
Okay. Can that money be used to help these people get their houses fixed?
Not right now. It's not part of our comprehensive plan.
Just thought I'd ask.
No, I appreciate it. And once we get the plan together, if we see needs throughout the year, we can do substantial amendments, which means we realize a new activity needs to be in place that supersedes the previous activity. It'll take a 30-day public comment period, and HUD has to approve it. All right, thank you, everybody. I think we have some financial items next.
Authorization to renew contract with Yellowstone Landscaping for maintenance of the I-26-199 interchange for June 2021 to June 2022 in the amount of $78,334. Funds to come from hospitality funds, and the request is from the Parks and Recreation Department.
I make a motion that we approve this, Mr. Mayor.
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion?
Yes, what were we charged last year, or what did we approve last year? The amount?
Yeah.
I mean, has it gone up?
Did Tim leave?
Yes.
Yeah. I believe it was in the 70s, but I can't remember. That was right when I got here.
I don't know the exact number. I think this is the second year of the contract.
And we had put it out for bid, right?
Yeah, it was
Okay.
through a bid, and that's just the continuation the next year.
Amy's watching us, so she may text me back.
She is. I'm just assuming that it's a little more than last year. Everything goes up in price.
No, Amy says the monthly fee did not change.
Oh, okay.
She did add $2,500 for bush hogging though, and that's it.
Any other discussion? All in favor signify by raising your right hand, saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed likewise? Ayes carry.
Authorization to surplus administration vehicle number A105, a Ford Crown Victoria sedan.
I'll make a motion that we approve that.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor signify by raising your right hand, saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed likewise? Ayes carry.
Authorization to renew contract with Trident Security with an hourly rate increase and month-to-month extension following expiration.
How long does this contract last?
And what is the hourly rate increase?
And why do we
Let's
still
get a
have-
motion, let's get a motion on the floor before we discuss
I'll
it.
make a motion that we approve it.
Second for discussion.
Okay, go ahead.
Good evening. The current hourly rate is $17.91 an hour. They are requesting a 75-cent increase to $18.66 an hour. We are currently in an expired contract period. The contract was originally for 1 year. So we're looking to renew it.
And I think that contract has a whole lot of thing where we're in that whole little phase now.
No, sir. In fact, that's the language we would like to add so that we don't run into this situation again.
Okay, that contract was, when Colin Martin implemented that, I think that's.
Yes, yes. I think it was the,
When we did the security. And
Yes.
and all that,
yes, sir.
was to protect the town employees from any disruption or something like that.
Right, and to add a security guard for the municipal court.
Right. Why are we paying them to work on Sundays, Saturdays?
Because we have bond court on Saturdays.
Okay, what about, as I recall reading the contract, I may be wrong, but the Saturday and Sunday.
Because we have bond court scheduled for Saturday and Sunday as needed. So if we know we've got bond court happening, a security guard comes in.
Okay, does the contract, and again, I don't have it right in front of
Mhm.
me, does it have a specific, I know it has an hourly amount, but does it have specific hours they're working?
We do, in the contract right now, it says 9:30 a.m. to 1:30 p.m.
What if we're not holding bond for it?
They don't come in.
Okay, do they get paid?
No, they get paid only for the hours they work.
Okay. Thank you, that's what I want to know.
Yes, sir.
Any other discussion? By the way, the group we got right now does a good job. I'm pretty impressed with them. I talk to them on a daily basis. Walter, I asked that same question yesterday to Lenny, the guy that works at the door where Donald's desk is. Because he told me he was there Saturday when the farmer's market was going on. And I think Wendell Nolan was down there playing music, and he said, Ricky, you should come down here and listen to Wendell play music Saturday. And but anyway, he was telling me the hours he worked Saturday and Sunday if he was needed. I don't think they work too much on Sunday. But anyway, they do when they're needed. But anyway, I think they do a pretty good job right now. If no more discussion, all in favor, let's say, raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
Opposed likewise. Ayes carry.
Thank you.
Authorization to hire Somerville Police Department hospitality officers for the downtown area.
I'll make a motion that we approve that.
Second.
Okay, any discussion on this?
Just that they're needed badly.
Yeah, if not, all in favor signify by raising your hand and saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed likewise. Motion carried.
Authorization to, oh,
Joe, I noticed when I was down there Saturday, I usually come and walk around the farmer's market to get some exercise. I saw some of your boys in blue walking and mingling with the crowd, so you've already started putting some officers on foot.
Yes, sir. We've been paying them overtime to be down there for about the better part of a year, maybe better. We have 2 officers down there on Saturdays.
Right.
And I was actually down there with them on Saturday as well, but they're down there for the duration.
So once we approve this, then the hospitality tax will kick in.
Well, it depends. We have to see where the need is, but right now we're paying overtime to those 2 officers, and those officers are actually reserve officers. So they're not being paid, which is saving the town money. So they have to get a certain amount of time in. So they like to do that on a Saturday, just come out and get their time in. So it saves the town money.
Well, I was glad to see them.
Yes, sir.
authorization to purchase security cameras for downtown Somerville.
I'll make a motion, we approve that.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion?
Mayor, if you don't mind, we would like for council to approve up to $150,000 out of a hospitality tax fund balance for that. It's not, there's not leftover money in the budget that we could budget that for this short budget. So if we could, that would be the request, is up to 150. The quote that we've gotten, because they just started working on this with Johnson Controls, is between 1 and 150. Depending on what we do.
Sorry.
So depending on what we do, and that is the company that has the cameras in the parking garage and in town hall. So all of that system would tie in together. So it would be pretty impressive.
How many cameras would that be?
They haven't determined that yet. They're still working on the actual plan between Lenny and Chief and even Amy some too with the park. So
And because these are with the garage, they would also be connected to the police dispatch monitor.
Yes, sir. That's what we would like to do. That's the plan when we discussed it with them, is to have it sent straight into our dispatch center and also be recorded on a mainframe. So we can go back and look at incidents as they occur. Eventually, hopefully, we'll be able to move some of those cameras. That's the 5-block, basically quadrant we talked about last week, but hopefully in the future we'll be able to move some cameras into the parks as well as the Sullivan Ranch Bike Path and park areas.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any further discussion on this? If not, all in favor signify by raising your right hand, saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed likewise. Ayes carry.
Authorization to bid out the Miles Road Fire Station project.
I'll make a motion that we approve that.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion?
Mayor, I believe you guys have all seen the plans for that. I know Chief sent them out to you, but if anybody has any questions about the plans or anything, feel free to ask. Or we can resend them to you if you don't have them.
Do you know if anything more has happened with the senior center possibly moving that way?
I do know that they have on their site plan, they have a space that we've actually worked with when we were doing the site planning for the fire department that we all worked around. So there's a site for some sort of recreation building, but I don't know what what it could be, and it's not funded yet that I know of. So
Okay, thank you.
Chief, you got anything you'd like to say?
No, sir, I'm good. I just want to make sure I don't have any other questions.
When is this project going to be completed?
If we can get it out for proposals now, get those back mid-June and bring it back to you guys for July for the approval to move forward, and look about a year's time for construction after that.
Good.
The construction would be dependent upon funding also,
Right.
depending on what the bids come in and
Yeah.
how much we have funded for, because we were going to use some impact fees for it, but I don't believe we have enough impact fees to pay for it with the current estimate that we have. So there may be some either changes to the construction, or council will have to figure out where the other funds will come from.
With the square footage today, it's about 8,100 square foot building total. That's truck bays and everything. So, the budget number we were dealing with put that at about a little over $350 a square foot, which is probably high. So I think we'll come back down a little bit from that. So, but we won't know until we get it out for bids and get the proposals back, go through them.
We'll sell the front end loader. That's all I got to say.
Probably.
Okay. Any more discussion on this?
No, sir.
All in favor signify by raising your hand and saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed likewise? Ayes, carried.
Discussion of 2022 budget.
I'll make a motion, we move it ahead for first reading.
Okay, we're going to move the budget ahead for first reading in a second. Any discussion?
I understand the budget is balanced, right?
Budget's balanced.
Currently, it's balanced, and I believe Andrew sent that out to you guys this afternoon. So if you have any questions, or if you want to come talk to us one-on-one later, we can. So just let us know what you want. It is pouring.
Exactly.
Pouring down
Finally.
the- Ooh, right. It's just- ooh.
We'll note the hospitality funds does include, the police are included in that personnel for next year.
All right, I'm going to repeat that. So the hospitality tax fund does include the amount to fund the police officers that you guys just approved going forward. And there is around $100,000 in there that could be utilized to fund distributions to other organizations, but we don't have a number in there right now. So that's a discussion that we need council to kind of give us some direction, or we'll just kind of put that money aside until council makes a decision on that. I'm louder than you are. Sorry, Andrew.
No problem, thank you.
Any more discussion on the budget? All in favor signify by raising your right hand and saying aye. Opposed likewise. Ayes, carried.
Now we're just all gonna hang out and wait for it to rain.
I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
Second.
Motion made and seconded, we adjourn. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed like